Welcome to Writers Anonymous YouTube channel. Writers Anonymous presents Even Stranger Stories. Episode 6. Face in the Floor.
207 years ago I fell over. Sadly, I felt nothing because I was already dead before I hit the floor. To say I had a headache was an understatement. The meat cleaver split my head from behind and I was sore. The headache was in my chest and nobody had invented ibuprofen yet. Not that it would have been of any use if they had. Apparently, I defended somebody, yet again. But this time it was deemed serious. Would that I had perceived the level of seriousness. But when you're angry, you don't necessarily think clearly. I smote him, albeit relatively gently. I nevertheless smote him. Okay, so, it was with a 60-foot oak tree but I had warned him. Get out of the way was obviously not strong enough even though I had added expletives, which he chose to ignore. So he killed me. I am not normally an angry person. However, on this occasion I was prepared to make an exception. So 207 years later, I am after revenge. He is long gone but he had no qualms, no sentiment, no sentimentality. 5 generations on, his descendants are still assholes and they really do need to learn. So I have created a face in the floor. Today it is the image of their dead grandmother. Tomorrow it will be their dead mother. But daily, after that, they will become scared. Every day the face in the floor will look like someone they know and love. The face will not only frighten them, it will destroy any confidence they might think they have. Even now they have fear of waking up, but very soon they will be even more frightened of going to sleep. They will be terrified that the new dead face in the floor one day will be theirs. I shall get the revenge for which I have waited so patiently, so long. I may be slow, I may be ugly, but I am totally determined. At long last, after 207 very long years, I shall have the ultimate say.
When the already dead have a mission, what is the mission for the recently deceased? Clock watching.
2 minutes to 12. Was it midday or midnight? I watched as the second hand moved inexorably around the dial, wondering why this bothered me so much. The clock sat on the clinically white wall in front of me and I was transfixed, maybe even a little scared. Its mechanical tick-tock seemed to reverberate around the room, such was the complete absence of any other sound. It felt like torture. I was in bed. I knew that much but couldn't remember climbing into it. Had I been drunk or just too tired to commit the act to memory? Whatever the reason, I was now wide awake and wanted to get up. I couldn't move. At first, I thought it was my limbs fighting to stir themselves after a night's sleep, so decided to wait a moment for them to recover. I tried again. Still nothing. Why couldn't I feel my arms or legs? To quell the panic rising within me, I forced my mind to think of a logical explanation. Perhaps I was still asleep, and this was just a horrible dream. The trouble was I just knew I was awake. It had to be something else. I racked my brains and sensed some sort of barrier, holding me back from a full explanation. The clock now read 1 minute to 12. I heard a door open and tried to see who had come in to see me. Did I live on my own or have a family? Why were there so many blanks I couldn't fill in? There was more than one person. Even though I couldn't move my body, they filled my vision with concerned faces and muffled voices, all peering at me like a specimen under a microscope. Why don't you help me? I wanted to shout, but my voice had given up the ghost as well. One of the new arrivals held a small torch in his hand and moved closer to me, shining light in both my eyes, one after the other. I wanted to draw back and get away, my frustration and fear combining to reach boiling point. He straightened and turned to the assembled throng. After at first glancing at the clock, his words froze my heart. Time of death 12 o'clock.
Having left the mortal coil, one wonders where one ends up, and if time could be changed, Where do the people who end up not ever having existed go to? Gone from time.
It wasn't my decision, but things had gone drastically wrong. People were dying left, right and center. I don't know how I'd been persuaded to kill Franz Joseph, but I did. All I can recall is a man talking to me, telling me to listen to the clock, listen to the future come towards me, with each tick defining a moment in time, a moment of the future. Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. The sound that demarcates the passage from then to now and beyond. I don't recall pulling the trigger, but I remember the weight of the pistol in my hand, the Archduke slumping before me, one of his entourage telling him not to die. But how is this so? I was born in 1984, got my PhD in 2008 and successfully applied for the vacancy at Kinetic in 2009. Everything's blurred. I'm disconnected. As I think these thoughts my very real memories dissipate, as if puffs of smoke. I'm left standing in a cubicle, the walls white and clear. I wonder where I've been. Mr. Johnston, if you'd come this way, a voice from the ether commands me to do as he pleases. Should I capitulate? He seems fine enough. I walk out of the small white room I've been standing in and enter a larger room. I'm sorry, sir, that didn't work. My mind is still confused. What didn't work, I asked. You didn't manage to stop Hitler, I was told. Stop Hitler? What was this weird experiment? I ran a hand across my forehead. Everything was fuzzy. I stood up from the chair. People on either side of the passageway stared. I felt like an outsider, like I'd let everyone down. Somehow, send me there again, I said. I was told to sit in the chair. A burst of sound followed the chair as it accelerated, and I was in the street again. This time I knew what to do. I let the Archduke ride in his trap, past the corner, and move out of sight. In an instant I was gone, never having existed.